What's up, self-healers? Lisa Lightfeather here. Welcome to my channel, Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. Thank you to all of my subscribers. And if you're new here and you like my content, you're feeling my energy, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell notification, maybe leave a comment. It assists us in getting into the YouTube algorithm. Today I want to speak on a topic of shamanic illness. Yes, what is it and why does it occur? Yeah. So, throughout the world, each region of the world has their own version of what a shaman is. Well, now the word shaman derives from Siberia. Yeah. And so, but each region has their own term. But the word shaman tends to be the most popular term that people kind of migrate to. Yeah. So here in North America, the term of urban shamanism or neo shamanism is becoming a popular term. In South America, they refer to them as ayahuasqueros, yeah, or curanderos or curanderas, yes. And so that's in South America, and it's with the Shipibo tribe that I have worked with in this type of shamanism, yes. But here in North America, the word shamanism is a word that's really slowly but surely becoming everyday language, yeah, because more and more of people who have been called to work with shamanism are beginning to wake up. Yes. Now the thing with this is that I will use the word shaman throughout this video. Yeah. Although I do realize that each region of the world has their own version or their own term for what shamanism is. Okay, so shamanism, and I'm just going to use my own vocabulary here, is a person who has been called to walk a certain path. This person has the ability to go into different realms, yes, and see where a person may be at, you know. But before they can go into these different realms and see where another person may be at, they must first go through their own process of traveling through their own realms and finding their own illness and their own darkness and their own love and their own light. Yeah. This is an ongoing process. It's not linear. It's kind of spiral. Yeah. So one initially, when they're called, will go through something called shamanic illness. Now, this shamanic illness, why do they go through it? Well, either the person is not paying attention to what spirit is sending them, or the person is resisting what is happening in their life, the shift is happening in their life. So let's just say this person works a 9 to 5 and they go report to their office every day, and they're in their 3-piece suit and they're making 6 figures a year. These people are not going to want to let that go. They're not. And so once you have the call, a lot of times spirit will wait until you are secure in your financial resources, so you don't have to worry about that, so that's not a distraction, because they have a clear assignment for you. And so they allow you to go through the process of going through the whole career thing and or going through the whole marriage and raising the children and whatever it is that you come back, and the people that you've come back to be with. They will allow you to go through all of that, the ups and downs, the darkest of dark spaces that come along with that. You know what I mean? So if it's a marriage that you've been called back to, you may go through the most turmoil that you could possibly even go through, or if or the job may be very strenuous, you may be rejected, you may be an outcast, you're not welcome, and so you have to report to this job every single day until you retire, and it's like reporting to hell every day, you know. So you're just constantly in this transformations, and other people report there, and it's the happiest place in the world for them. Yeah. And so this person that has a calling on their life may go through tremendous turmoil in whatever their walk is. And they may have been going through, not may, they have been going through this turmoil since they were born, because they came into this realm with this contract that they agreed to. And so they are normally they are birthed into trauma. Excuse me, I've had my throat's been bothering me for days now, so I may take a sip or cough or whatever. But they have been birthed into trauma. They've been birthed out of trauma. Like normally their mothers are traumatic, and the baby is fighting, does not want to come in this realm. So it was probably a traumatic birth, and they're birthed from someone who's traumatic and toxic. And so from the day that they take their first breath, they are in a state of trauma. Yeah, and for them as a child, or as an infant, a toddler, or a preteen, or whatever, they don't even realize it's trauma, because for them it's just normal everyday stuff. And so it takes them to even realize that they're in a state of trauma. So these people have a calling on their life, yeah, and they learn to self-heal themselves without even realizing what they're doing. They're just constantly transforming like a phoenix. They get burned down to the lowest of ashes, and they just come back up, over and over and over again, until finally they master this type of energy. So, so a shaman is someone who has done their own. They go through their own processes, and they just kind of reinvent themselves over and over. It's a transformation process, a spiral of transformation. You may see them one minute and they look a certain way, and the next time you see them, you're like, oh, they look completely different. It's because they're constantly transforming themselves. Yeah. And it's not something they're volunteering to do. It's something that's happening. It's something that's happened. I don't want to say something that's happening to them, because they did sign up for it, but it's something that's happening, that's occurring, that they don't really have any control over. They just have to go with the process, and eventually they learn when they're going through one of these transformations. Before that, they just assume that life is lifing, and oh my God, I'm going. It's more trouble. It's more trouble. But after a while, they master it, and they become aware. Oh, this is a transformation that I'm going through. This is another process that I'm going through. So, a lot of people deal with metaphysical things. They call themselves shamans. Because they don't quite get what it is. Yeah. So you have the metaphysical aspects of things, the astrologers, the tarot card readers, the crystal masters, the sound therapy, the massage, the meditation, all these things. These things are not shamanism. They are tools to assist people on their healing journey, but it is not shamanism. Now, a shaman can be all those things, but all those things cannot be a shaman. And that's just the hard facts of it. That's just the facts of it. It's not really hard. It just is what it is. And so, just like the military are the 1%ers of the population, shamans are the 1%ers of the population. True. And I'm not here to say who's a true shaman and who isn't. That's not my calling. But people who are walking this path, they are not everyday people. A lot of times you will see these people by themselves, because it's difficult to walk this path and then come home and cook dinner for the husband and take care of the kids and be it's difficult. So a lot of times you'll see these people start walking their path after that whole phase of their life is over. Yeah, if they've truly been called. So we're here today to speak on the topic of shamanic illness. So the first initiation of shamanic illness, it occurs because of the fact that the people are resisting. They're like, oh no, I'm making six figures. I'm the CEO. I am the person in charge. I am, I've worked so hard for this. I have more degrees than a thermometer. There's no way I'm going to let this go. And so they resist the call. Or they go off and they do stuff like tarot card reading or sound therapy or metaphysics, working with crystals. They do everything but stand in the call. Now remember, a shaman can be all those things, but all those things can't be a shaman. So, um, so the shaman has to stand in what they've been called to do, or they will. Shamanic illness will undoubtedly occur. A lot of times when we start off, they don't realize that they are a shaman. They don't realize what's happening, but all of a sudden the shamanic illness will manifest itself, and it can manifest itself in physical illness, such as things that the person gets sick and they don't really know why they're sick, and the doctors can't identify anything. They just start naming stuff, and the person's like, I know it's not that, and but the doctors will just start naming stuff, diagnosing, just because they are going to diagnose, because they have to diagnose something, because this person is sick, and now but they can't put their finger on what the sickness is. It can manifest in emotional upheaval, like depression, anxiety, grief without a cause, just spontaneous crying, spontaneous laughing, but there's not a real reason for it. It's like life, you look around and life is okay, the bills are paid, that you have everything you need, but all of a sudden you're in this dark space where you're just spiraling, and it's just depression and crying, and you don't know if you're they don't the thing is a lot of times they're not even crying for themselves. They're crying for they're crying for the community. They're crying for the collective, because they're feeling everything and they're having to go through all of this grief and pain, and it's just this almost a dark night of the soul type of stuff. Another way it can manifest is this psychic phenomena, like this psychic ability. Like they start knowing things that they don't know how they knew it. They don't or how they know it. They start having visions. Their dreams become uh, very visual. It's like you're having these dreams where you feel like you're in the dream. And these dreams can be dark and scary. It can be repressed darkness that the person has repressed, and there could be anger. It could be anxiety, it can be fears that come through the dreams of these very visual dreams. They can do things like astral project and end up someplace else, and they're like, you know someplace else. Sometimes they will astral project to where the spirit really wants to go. And so and the person wakes up confused, like, why do I keep dreaming that? They'll hear voices. They'll hear their ancestors or someone within the dreams. They might say hello, or they might call their name and things of that sort. They might have they have these spiritual visions. Yeah. They can feel and hear what other people are thinking and saying. And so in North America, this thing is considered psychotic, is considered schizophrenic, is considered all these horrible things. And so if the person doesn't know what's going on, they can easily be diagnosed with these things. And so and they may have to go through something like a mental health hospital, or they may have to go spend time in the hospital. They may get drugged up by a bunch of drugs from the doctors in an attempt to try to heal them, or attempt to try to calm their mind. Yeah. Another way it can manifest is through disconnecting, just totally disconnecting from everything and everybody. They go into this isolation. They feel lost, confused, like not knowing where they are. They're at a crossroads, and so they don't really know where they are in life, and they start questioning. Have I done the right thing? Have I lived? This usually happens during the Saturn returns. Like they start looking back on life, especially the second Saturn return. Start looking back on life, like, have I done the right things? And they start realizing all the things they've been through. The second Saturn return comes between 56 and 60. And so it's for most people. And so they start remembering, like looking back on their life. Life starts hitting them that, okay, we're getting ready to step into our rites of passage of eldership. And so they start thinking about all the things. Have I done the right thing? Have I been a good person? the trauma that the body has been through, the body starts remembering, the spirit starts remembering, and all this stuff starts coming up to the surface for a spiritual purge. Yeah. And so this is not an easy process. It's like there is a storm going on inside the person. Yeah. And it's easy to look for ways to escape this. So somebody might go back into alcoholism, or somebody might go back into doing a certain type of drug, or they might go to the doctor and say, hey, remember those antidepressants you were wanted to give me, give them to me, and they might go into that. But the next phase is this: once you've been through this a few times, you start to realize, you start to know what's happening. So why does this happen more than once? Yeah. Why does it happen more than once? So the first time is an initiation. Yeah. It might be even something such as a Kundalini awakening, where the energy in the body just wakes up and it's just chaotic. Like it's just chaotic. Like you don't know where these emotions are coming from. You don't know where this extreme sexual energy is coming from, or you don't know where this extreme heart trauma pain is coming from. It's like everything's just all of a sudden really chaotic. And so that manifests in the form of a Kundalini awakening. And once the Kundalini awakens, it's awakened. And so it might stop for a little while and calm down, and it'll speed up again, And so one has to be in tune with their body enough to know what's happening. But the initial shamanic illness, the person does not know what's happening, and they are just, devastated. Now, there might be an inner knowing in the spirit. And they might have a calling, like they might have a dream, or they might have a voice, or they might hear something, that they're supposed to work in shamanism in some type of way. But eventually they find their way, yeah? And they start to stand in their power. But it doesn't stop there. That's the thing. It's like, okay, I've answered the call, I should be good, right? No, you're not. It is going to continue to go on. The powers that be, your guides, your ancestors, or whatever, they're walking with you, so you're protected and you're safe. But it is a term. It is like no one chooses this. No one wakes up and says, "Yeah, that's what I want to do with my life." At any rate, why does shamanic illness happen more than once? So it'll happen again and again and again, but it's because spirit is shifting the person. Like something may be out of alignment, or that portion of the journey is over, and so they're shifting, and not necessarily taking away what the person is doing, but shifting it, how you're working with it. You've learned the lessons that you need to learn during that phase, and so now it's time to take it someplace else, and the person has to go with inside again, and this time they have an inner knowing of what's happening. And so there is no attempt to escape. There's no need to get in your car and run and drive across the country. There's no need for any of that. You sit in it. And during these phases, the dreams can be so scary that a person is scared to go to sleep. Because they see so much, they hear so much in their dreams, and it's so visual, it's so real. It's like you can reach out and touch what's in the dream. But these dreams are so painful. They can be very painful. They can be very scary. And so at this phase, the person is doing the work in the dream world. Yes? And so they can wake up crying, they can wake up laughing, they can wake up screaming. And so it gets to the point that the person is literally afraid to go to sleep. But because they have been around the spiral, yeah, they've been here in different aspects, the spirit recognizes that this is another phase on the journey. And so the person who has been through it a few times learns to sit with it, learns to integrate it, learns to hear what spirit is saying. So you've done all this work, and now in your dreams, all this trauma is coming up. Why? Because it's accumulation. Okay, it's the next phase. Because you've done the work, it's not like the body forgets, right? The body still remembers. And so it's the next phase. It's time to take all this stuff that you've done, and it's time to purge it. Purge it. Remove it from the spirit. And so that you can be prepared. So the goal, the primary thing of the shaman, the medicine person, the healer, whatever you want to refer to them as, is to become a hollow bone. That there's nothing blocking. There's no anger. There's no fear. There's no sadness. There's no anxiety. There's nothing blocking. So that they can be true to their calling and they can walk on this path without feelings of resentment and anger and, things of that sort that we hide, the shadow work that has to be done. Yeah. And so this is one of the phases where the shadow work comes out in the dream state. So you're fighting all the shadows in the dream state. Sometimes you may wake up and literally look like you've been in a fight. The bed is a mess. It's just stuff is thrown everywhere. It's just, You wake up, you look 20 years older. You've been in a war. And you can't do nothing but laugh. The best medicine is to be able to laugh at yourself. Because, baby, you signed up for it. And I just wake up sometimes. I might be crying. I might be laughing. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? And so this is some of the things that the shaman goes through. These are rites of passage. Rites of passage. And so you're slowly going on to whatever the next level is. Yeah. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. Don't question it. Just go. Just go. Just go. And the reason you're not questioning, I'm not telling you to be some dummy and be led by some outside forces and let some entities take over your body. I'm not saying that. As a shaman, a medicine person, sometimes entities do step in and you're doing the work, and you can tell if it's an entity that's one of your ancestors or if it's somebody that's being something demonic. So you learn the difference. Yeah. But one has to, I'm not saying let something just take over you and then you just follow it. No, you're listening, you're feeling, you're remembering. Is this a familiar energy, or is this something foreign, or is this an energy that's healing me? Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it's kind of scary. But am I to rest in this? Am I to sit in this and listen, or am I to fight? Right? And so you will instinctively know if you're to rest in it or if you're to fight it. And to be quite frank, you don't have a choice. So you can fight it if you want to, but it's just going to drag it out longer. Yeah. And so things happen. You're able to hear voices. You're able to speak to people on the other side. You're able to see spirits. You're able to, these things happen. And this is scary stuff. And now if you go to the hospital and tell them all this, then you just going to be locked up in there with a straitjacket and some antidepressants. They're going to have you go right on up there on the 5th floor, whatever floor it is. So have at it if you want that to be part of your journey. And sometimes you may need that. Who knows, But I just wanted to come on today and speak about shamanic illness. First of all, we spoke about what is a shaman. The second, we spoke about what is shamanic illness and why does it occur? And why does it occur repeatedly? Yeah. And so it'll happen along your journey. For me, it's like every couple of years I go through it, And so, yeah, it's basically a shift. It's a rites of passage. You're going to some other place. I'm not going to say some other level like you're being promoted, but it's basically that you're being promoted to something different. Yeah. And so in order to go to something different, in order to go deeper, in order to go higher, in order to be able to travel that tree of life, to go down in the underworld, to be in this realm, doing this kind of 3D stuff, and then going up into the spirit realm and working in these different realms, one has to go through the growth process, the phoenix process, the burning down and the rising back up, and because you cannot work with anyone that you have not been through. You cannot assist someone with something you have not been through. It just doesn't happen. And so this is not an easy journey. This is why it's only 1%. This is why not everybody's doing it, because it's not an easy journey. Now, like I said, you can be a healer in sound therapy and massage therapy and Reiki and meditation and yoga and all that. All of that is a form of a healer, but it is not shamanism. A shaman can be all that, but all that can't be a shaman. So, although the term shaman is a Siberian term, right? The Native Americans and the indigenous people here in North America have referred to these people as the medicine people, the people that carry the medicine, whatever that medicine may be. Yeah. At any rate, shamanic illness is a rites of passage that should not be dumbed down unless you absolutely have to. And there's no penalty like, oh, you had to go take antidepressants, or you had to go to the 5th floor. Or a lot of times shamans will have a vice. They'll have a vice because they are so constantly in these realms, these different realms, that to be here in this realm, they have to find something to cope. So they'll have a vice. You know, you'll see a lot of shamans that smoke a lot of weed, like plant medicine, or you'll see a lot of shamans that, some shamans that are just not quite there, drink a lot of alcohol or smoke a lot of cigarettes. They have some type of vice because they need something to keep them here so that they don't just lose it, you know? And so there's some type of vice that a lot of shamans will have. And so you might be like, well, how can you be somebody to call yourself a healer and you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day? They need a vice. Trust me, because they are just traveling these dimensions, and traveling these dimensions is not easy. It requires a whole lot of energy. And people are like, well, why don't you just go to Jesus and just go to church and just let Jesus handle it all? That's not what we do. We acknowledge Jesus, we acknowledge Buddha, we acknowledge Krishna, we understand, we overstand, we understand that these are all powerful deities. But the shaman travels. We go within, inside here. All those deities are outside there. They assist us on our journey, yeah? But we go within here, and this is the darkest place that one can go. You want to find hell? Go within yourself. The shadow of any individual, no matter how peaceful they appear, and no matter how much spiritual religion they are, the shadow is the depths of hell. You will find the devil if you go within yourself, just as you will find God if you go within yourself. Yeah? And so the journey of the shaman is to go meet the devil, shake its hand, give it a hug, and then go find God and integrate the two together. Yeah? Because the shaman cannot assist you with your demons if he or she does not know their own demons. These are facts. And a lot of things with religion, I digress. I know we're here to talk about shamanic illness. A lot of things with religion is that they want to push the demon away and embrace the God. But that's only half of them. And so the demon is sitting there like a ticking time bomb, waiting for its opportunity to take center stage. The shaman sees the demon, says, "Get over here, give me a hug, stop showing out." He sees the God, welcomes in the light, and puts them together, which is the root of the tree and the branches of the tree. Carl Jung said it best: no tree can reach to the heavens without first its roots reaching to the depths of hell. So one must know themselves, yes. A lot of times these shamanic illnesses are assisting us in knowing ourselves better and better and better. Because we cannot walk our journey until we know ourselves, until we know our own darkness, until we can integrate our own darkness and our own light together. And that is painful. Hence the dark night of the soul, hence Kundalini, hence shamanic illness, the spiraling of it. Because remember, healing is not linear. It's no different for the shaman. They just don't have the option to not do the work. Because in not doing the work, one can fall very ill. One can fall can get very sick. One can have near-death experiences and literally die. So doing the work is one thing, but doing the inner work is another. Yeah. Well, I could go on and on about this topic, and I'll probably have other topics in regards to this, in regards to the dark night of the soul, in regards to shamanic illness, in regards to Kundalini awakening, and the rites of passage along the way. I will certainly have a lot of topics on the rites of passage as my second Saturn return is quickly approaching. A lot of changes are happening, a lot of shifts are occurring. I'm doing a lot of those shifts in private, but I wanted to come on and I wanted to speak with you today about shamanic illness and some of the things that you can do to assist you with going through that and what it is. What is a shaman? Why do shamans have to go through these things? I hope that this video has been informative, that it hasn't been too scattered. I hope that you receive something from it. Thank you for tuning into my channel, Closing the Gap, where we make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, maybe leave a comment or something. Just say hey. And we'll see you next time here on Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. See you next time.